Hi, everybody. It's me. It's your favorite guy. You'll notice that right away, first things first, I'm looking at the B-side, and my death is at 384. Now, what you need to understand is I've recorded this B-side twice before. And now you're probably thinking, oh, well, why haven't we seen it, Chris? I'm sure there was loads of interesting and intellectual conversation, and you were probably not losing your mind swearing all the time, and you didn't have any way of conversing because all you were saying was fuck and shit. Well, that's not the case. Actually, it very much was. But the reason they've not been uploaded is because I forgot to switch my microphone to my actual microphone, and it kept using my headset microphone, which is ass. So guess what? I kept recording. I recorded twice thinking I'd fixed it, and I hadn't. So I'm gonna play the B-side again, and it doesn't matter what happens. If I don't get a video with audio quality out of this, I'm giving up and we're going on to the next level, because I've now beat this B-side twice and I'm fucking sick of it, because it still pisses me off. But no, one thing I wanted to talk about is I figured out what I want to talk about. I figured out what I want to talk about. I want to talk about my day, because it occurred to me most of you just listen to this as background noise / oh, what's that funny guy saying? So I'm going to give you like a podcast essentially, with a gameplay in the background if you need a Subway Surfers thing to listen to. But yeah, so basically I work at a contact center. Now I won't say which one, obviously, for my own safety / privacy. But I work at a contact center, and we, funnily enough, take calls. Now, the first thing you'll notice if you work in a contact center, now if anyone's worked at a contact center that's listening, you'll know what I'm talking about. People that call contact centers are the fucking scum of the earth. Genuinely some of the most rude, entitled bastards I've ever met. And they're all over the phone, because I can't see their face and they can't see mine, so I must not be a real person. So I'm going to tell you some stories about fucking people I've listened to today. Now, no one's going to be named, obviously, mainly because I don't remember their names, but also because, you know, that's still rude, because I, unlike them, am a nice guy. So basically, let's start off with what was actually the lesser of the two insane stories I know from today, which was the lady who couldn't put together a chair. Now, so this lady was, how you say, struggling to put together a chair. And she was genuinely struggling. And do you know what's even worse? She was blaming us for the fact that she couldn't put this chair together. She was genuinely like, you've sold me a faulty chair. And we had to explain to her that we had not. Do you know what had happened? Do you know what's happened? She has ingeniously not lined up the screw holes on the chair so that when you screw the screws in, they screw in. What she'd done is she just misaligned it, so it's not going to screw in ever unless she used a drill, but she didn't, obviously. So we're trying to figure out what's going on with this lady, and then she drops the bombshell on us that she paid a contractor £45 to come and put this chair together. £45, for the sake of ease, let's just call that $60 for any Americanos that are watching. But basically, she paid this person an exorbitant amount of money to put together a chair. By the way, it's just like an office chair, like a regular ass office chair, also known as that thing that everyone on Earth can put together. And she just can't do it. And she just can't do it. She hires this guy to do it. And do you know what this guy does? He doesn't put the chair together. I don't know why. She never explained why. Maybe it was too hard. Maybe he couldn't figure it out. But the point is, she spent £45 for a man to put together a chair who did not put together a chair. She was scammed, essentially. She was scammed. That's fraudster material. So that happened. And we genuinely have no idea what she wanted to get from that call. But nothing is what she got anyway, so who really cares? Yeah, but that was the lesser of the two crazy stories that had happened today. The more insane story was the man who wouldn't shut the fuck up. And now this is... So the one I just told you, I wasn't personally a part of. I was just sort of there at the time. I sat next to the person that this happened to. Now, I get called by this fella, and he has a problem, like an actual problem, so we solve it. It takes all of, 10 minutes to solve? Now, the funny thing is you'll notice it was 10 minutes long, but the phone call was 30 minutes long. And now you have to ask, how does that time sort of split happen? Well, it's called this man spoke about so many different topics, so much, that we talked about literally nothing to do with my job for 20 minutes. He spent at least 6 minutes talking about global warming, at least 8 minutes talking about how parents aren't parenting properly nowadays. And he also spent a solid 4 to 5 minutes talking about how he is a dangerous man with mental health problems. Now, I'm not going to make light of mental health issues. They're real. They do happen. And this guy was clearly sort of older. Not like old, like 50s, I'd imagine. So he's like older. And he's clearly not got very much company. He's disabled. He wasn't able to get anyone to do stuff for him. So clearly, I imagine that's no close family or friends. So, he was actually like I felt bad for him. He was a poor soul. But genuinely, he just would not shut the fuck up. Like, he had like turbo ADHD. Not that there's anything wrong with ADHD, but I meant like, I have a job to do. I genuinely have other calls to take. So this guy is talking, and the first thing he starts with is global warming. So he was talking about how, like, he doesn't throw his stuff away because, everyone just gets the new thing and then throws their old thing away. He doesn't do that. But, he says he might as well start throwing his stuff away because, nobody even adheres to global warming warnings anymore. And he said, did you know they got real scientists to like look into global warming, and they said that it's happening? And I said, really? Because goddamn it, if I have to answer, I'm at least going to be sarcastic. So I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, they got real scientists to look into this, and they said global warming's coming, and this is what I don't get. He said, it's already happening. It's already happened. So there's no point in really paying attention to recycling anymore. You might as well just throw away whatever you want. And I said, yeah, okay, sure, whatever floats your boat. And he said, and the problem is, it's just that, there's these 6-year-olds. They're only 6 and they've got phones, and it's like, if they have a phone, it should only be able to call and text. And I'm like, okay, I can sort of get behind the notion that kids have access to technology too early nowadays. Totally get it. But he just went on and he said, it's these parents as well. Their kid will, ask for something, and they'll say, well, no, we can't afford that. And then the kid will cry and scream, and then they'll just get it for him anyway. He said that's not the proper way to parent. He said, I mean, if I said no, that meant no, If I said no, if my parents said no, and then I asked again, they'd beat the shit out of me. And I had to sit there and go, okay, even though inside what I had to say was, so parenting nowadays is bad because they just say yes, but back in the day parenting was better because they would just hit you. And that was what he was getting at, really, was that parents aren't, strict enough on their kids anymore. I feel like the world is coming to a point where we're getting rid of the hitting children part, or at least we're trying to. Oh, fucking thank God, finally. But he acted as if, nope, hitting a kid, that's the best way to do it. It works. I'm sure it probably does, but that I can only imagine that's probably why I wasn't speaking to the most stable individual of all time. But no, he then went on for a bit longer. By the way, when I say he's not stable, you'll understand what I mean in 2 seconds, because he said, obviously, my parents, they hit me as a kid, and I've worked my body to the bone, and now I'm disabled. And he then followed it up with, and, I can be dangerous. And I'm very intrigued by what he means by I can be dangerous. And what he meant was, I take meds to sort of mitigate my mental health. He also said he has mental health, which, yeah, I'm sure he does based on how he was speaking, but he never explained what his mental health was. He also just called it mental health, which, you know, if you're not willing to share, that's fine. Privacy is important, but I'm not sure that he knew either. So he says, I have mental health as well, you know, or not as well. He said, I have mental health. He said, I take pills for these sorts of things. So, okay, classic, pills for mental health. That seems to be the trend. And he says, yeah, I have these pills, but, you know, one time I went to the hospital, and they said, we're going to put you on some different pills. I said, no. I know what dosage I need. Keep me on that. Please just, you know, don't swap my medicines. And they said, no, we're going to swap them. We're going to swap them over. And he said they swapped them, and instantly, like, oh, shit, I almost just killed my own head off. My foot got caught in the wires of my headphones. He said, you know, within like a few days, like within a day or two, he could tell that he was getting aggressive, I guess. He said, I'm very easy to sort of tick off if I'm not on my meds and if you annoy me. So he said this male nurse, and he, by the way, he specifically mentioned male nurse, because inciting violence towards female nurses is worse. Supposedly violence towards a specific gender is worse than violence towards the other one. But I digress. That's what he said. But he said there was one male nurse that was particularly, like, getting on his nerves. I was like, okay, well, that's never fun, you know. I do know cases where, you know, hospital staff or certain staff in certain places aren't quite, you know, as approachable as they should be, or as good as they should be. And so I was sort of like, I felt this sort of moment of like, okay, well, you know, he is a real human. You never want to be treated that way, especially not in a place of health. Ooh, baby, that was good. But no, he genuinely was like, fuck. He was really starting to, you know, piss me off. I said, okay. He said, yeah. And then I said to myself, if he gets any closer, I'm gonna fucking strangle him. And he brought up strangulation for 3 different scenarios in his life. And he said, yeah, when I get mad, I sort of, you know, I feel the need to strangle people. And I genuinely was like, okay, I'm on the phone with a disturbed individual. And he just spoke for 20 minutes about shit like this. This was how, like, actually 30 minutes of my day went. And it was rather intriguing, and I hope never to do it again. But genuinely, it's that sort of thing that will make you realize that we all share this earth, and these people live in the same country as me. How? But whatever, you know? Oh, hey! But yeah, no, genuinely, my arm's got pins and needles from where it's been sat. Whoops. Genuinely, I've never been more confused in my life. I was sat back and everyone was just looking at me, leaning backwards, going, yep. Because I had nothing to say. I'm not supposed to say, well, I don't agree with that, and then I have an argument with a customer over the phone. You're not supposed to do that. But you also can't just hang up. So I have no choice but to just sit there and go, yep. Yeah, yeah, I get it. And then, yeah, he just went on forever. It never ended. Genuinely, I didn't know what to say. But yeah, that's my work experience. Being on the phones, you'll understand that humanity truly is the reason this planet is failing. Fuck. Not only, like, you speak to people over the phone and, you know, they're strangers to you, you'll realize so quickly that every issue on this planet is caused by us, and it's entirely avoidable, but some people just don't got the brains. Oh, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. But no, I was so concerned listening to this dude. I was like, please, just, you know, He said, I can't go out. The thing is, as well, is that you can't even imagine for, like, I felt genuinely bad for the guy for most of it. Except for the parts where he, you know, threatened to strangle a male nurse and a stranger. Because I was like, oh, I really hope not to meet this person ever. But I just don't get it. Just fuck. I just don't get it. So yeah, if you've ever worked in a contact center, please let me know if that's some sort of shit that you've had before. I know somebody that worked in a bank, and they worked in this bank, and there was a notorious guy that would call up jerking off. Like, he would just, you'd answer the phone and you could hear him smacking away. And it's not even every time, like, it was a guy, and he was, you know, he always asked if there were any women available, which was already a red flag. But, you know, you get him on the phone and he literally just, that's sexual assault. And they would do that for the bank. Why would you do that? Why would you call the bank to do that? I don't get it. Shit like that is weird, and the anonymity of a phone call should be abolished. If you call someone, they should get basically a fucking live feed to your face so they can look at you. I mean, is it not enough to these people that we have to have their addresses in front of us so that we can do our jobs? Oh, I'm so glad I made that. But no. You know what? Question of the day. Fuck. Question of the day. What's your, like, worst work experience, or your experience that has let down your hope for humanity? Because I'm gonna tell you now, I get that shit all the time. Humanity fucking bugs me terribly. Fuck. Yeah, no, genuinely, like, what's your worst work experience / what was the part of your life that made you realize that we are doomed as a species? Fuck! Okay, I know when I've got to go. I'll figure it out. But yeah, no. So that's what I deal with 5 days a week for 8 hours a day. Not every call is bad. Some people will just call up. Can you check something for me? Yes, I can, you sweet old lady, you. And then you get some guy call up. Yeah, I ordered for next day and it's not shown up. Yeah, that's because you ordered it at midnight, which means next day is tomorrow. Oh, but that doesn't make any sense. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Genuinely, how do people this stupid make it out of the womb? I feel like our reproductive cycle should be very similar to, like, you know, animals that like seals. You're either, you know, a good survivalist with good parents, or you die. Frankly, survival of the fittest needs to be brought back. No, you know what? Fuck survival of the fittest. Survival of the fittest don't mean nothing. Survival of the intelligent. I am so sick of stupid people. I would never pick up a phone and ask these sorts of questions, or say these sorts of things, or act this kind of way towards anybody on this planet, because I have decency. And I don't understand how these people just pick up a phone and feel this is right. This is how the humanity was meant to be. Anyways, this was my rant about the state of humanity and how it's fucking shit. Fuck. This is bad, by the way, because I'm gonna let you know now. The first time I beat this, I beat it in 30 minutes. 33 to be precise. 33 minutes this took me originally. And then, the second time I did it, took me 20 minutes. I'm not near the end yet, and you'll notice that I'm nearly at 20 minutes again. It's a fucking abomination. But no, I think it's because I've been so angrily distracted. Fuck's sake. Yeah, no, it's... Working, having a career, lets you know that we are going to destroy ourselves. As a species, we are fucked. I've seen how our financiers operate a business. Ha ha ha! I meant to do that. Fuck. Yeah, no, we're fucking shit. Humans are crap. See, I remember having practice for that one. Fuck. Fuck. Watch this. Shit. Why don't I just... Don't do that. I'm an idiot. Yeah, no. Just, yeah. I don't know what you guys do for a job, so tell me, because I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued, because I've only had 3 jobs in my life. I've only had 3 jobs. And I'm gonna tell you now, they were pretty fucking bougie. Except for this one currently, the call center one. The call center one is fucked up. But no, I've worked at McDonald's and then a shelf stacking job, and they were both fine. I mean, the people were assholes, don't get me wrong, but it was fine. But I don't know about the rest of the business world. Fuck. I'm genuinely curious. Like, you know, I'm sure lawyers have fucking shit problems too. Oh! Anyways, we did it, guys. We fucking did it. Yeah, no. Tell me about your job. And I did do it in 20 minutes because I cleared the part that normally takes me like 8 minutes in like 2. Ugh, my neck is so stiff. Okay. Well, there you go. That's what a B-side is like. Let me know if you want me to release the original where I swear all the time. But yeah. Thanks everybody for watching. Leave comments about your life below. Anyways, I will see you in the next one. I have no idea when that will be. Don't ask. Bye!